Okay, so this video is just gonna be answering a few questions from the Great Escape to Disney. She asked me a few questions on my previous video and I haven't answered them yet. So not only have I made a list of videos that are to come, I made a list of the questions. So I thought I'd just quickly answer those. So hopefully this is just going to be a super short video. So the first question is, why did you choose the programme? Okay, so, well, maybe I should ask right, I'm going to ask the second one first, because this is kind of going to answer both of them, how you came across the programme, and why I chose it. So, I came across the programme, would have been back in 2010, when I was first, 2009, when I was first applying to universities, and I go to the University of Chester. And they offer, in your second year, you do a work-based learning module, which is 6 weeks of working in a professional environment or industry. Now you can switch what they call work-based learning module over to learning in the wider world, which is work-based learning but outside of the UK. And they offer the placement to Disney. Now, I'd never heard about the programme before, so I had no idea that other universities do the same programme, like the same sort of thing, and I also didn't know that you could just directly apply for it without having to go through university and apply for the programme that way. So I chose University of Chester based on that, and then when it came to my second year, you can watch my interview process video, which will explain a bit more about the interview process that I went through to get there, but I chose the programme purely for the fact that I wanted to work for Disney. I mean, Disney is just a huge thing in my life. I really like it. I'm a bit of a Disney freak, so working for Disney is almost just like the cliche of being a dream, really. So yeah, that's why I chose the programme. Why do you think it's for you? That's a tricky one. Well, besides the fact that I'm a Disney fanatic, I love things all Disney, just the idea of working for Disney and having the kind of respect that goes with that. So any future career things, you can say that you worked for the Disney company or you're going to work for the Disney company. I use that quite a lot in some applications, especially with my PGCE application. That was a major thing, that's saying that, you know, that's what I'm going to be doing this summer before my PGCE, and I'm actually going to be a drama teacher. So the fact that I'm going to be working in the entertainment sector at the Walt Disney World, I can take what I've learnt there, obviously within reason, because I have to preserve the magic, and there's so much secrecy that goes on with being a character performer, but you know, as a drama teacher I feel like I'm going to learn a lot from the entertainment sector, so hopefully I'll be able to kind of store some of that knowledge, and within reason kind of pass it on. Yeah, so what would be your dream job at the Walt Disney World? Well, I've kind of got my dream role because last year I was in housekeeping, and I only applied this year, like I've said in one of my other videos, for a character performer. I didn't want to go if I couldn't have that role, and I was quite willing to take that risk of not going. If they didn't accept me as a character performer, I wasn't accepted, basically. But I was accepted, so that's really good. But besides that, I think dream ideal role would be actually being in some of the shows and the parades, so performing Beauty and the Beast live, Finding Nemo the musical, Festival of the Lion King, those type of shows are really what I'd love to be doing, along with the parades and stuff. So yeah, that's really my dream role. Oh, and face characters. I love face characters. Not the princesses, the ugly sisters and the villains. They are the best. I really wanted to be an ugly sister or a villain. Magnificent, she's good. Oh yeah, so those. What role have you had before? I did housekeeping in 2012 for the summer, What were your tasks? Okay, so housekeeping involved cleaning, basically. I'll explain housekeeping first. So housekeeping involved cleaning rooms. Second question was, what was your work location? I worked at Port Orleans Resort, and I worked in the French Quarter section. So in that section you were given so many rooms. Each morning you'd given an assignment sheet, which you will see in one of my other videos. In my Disney stuff I talk about that. No, it's my journal video. I talk about the sheets. You get sheets, you get 17 rooms a day. You can have anything from checked in just dirty, and you basically just need to go in, clean the baths, clean the sinks, make the beds, hoover the floor if you can, because obviously quite a lot of Disney hotels, they're kids, so they have a lot of toys. You're not really allowed to touch anything, especially stuff that's not theirs. Electrical items you don't touch, so you just try to work around what's there. You could have a linen change, which would involve changing the linen, which is the sheets, because they have on the beds they have a base sheet, base sheet, second sheet, blanket, and then comforter. So you can have a linen change, which involve you changing all the sheets and then putting them all back on again whilst the room's still messy, and that's very, very difficult. And then you can have a checkout room, which means that the room is completely clear of stuff, but you've got to change everything from sheets, blankets, pillowcases. Everything needs to be washed down and cleaned with chemicals, toilets, baths, 2 sinks. You need to dust everything, even including like on top of picture frames. You need to clean inside the refrigerator, inside the drawers. I'm trying to think, empty the trash. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm trying to kind of go through the room. And then make sure that they've got all of the amenities, so shampoo, conditioners, soaps, and all the information leaflets, which are usually by the phone, or they could be on a table if your resort room has one of those. So yeah, that's basically housekeeping. You get a little cart, so you take that with you round your section that you're given. And so then you don't have to go back and forward to linen rooms. It's literally all on your cart. Oh, and changing toilet rolls, making towel animals. Yeah, I think that's it. But then about a month into my programme, I got changed to be a runner. So I still worked at the same resort, still worked with the same people, still under the same managers, but I got my own little Pargo, which is a little like golf cart thing. I got a radio and a big set of keys. You were given so many buildings. In French Quarter there were 7 buildings, and there was 3 runners for the whole of French Quarter, and it was split. So if you were runner 1, you had buildings 1, 2, and the first floor of building 3. If you were runner 2, you had buildings 4, 5, and middle floor of building 3. And if you were runner 3, you had buildings 6 and 7 and the top floor of building 3. And then over lunches you had to switch, and you'd be manning different buildings. So if runner 3 was on lunch, runner 1 would cover 6 and 7, but also have their buildings 1 and 2 as well. So if you had keys, you needed keys for the whole lot. Then you would also be making maybe towel animals if you didn't have any calls on your radio. You might have to go back to car services if you were required to change the refrigerator over, because sometimes they just stop working. Although people do come, guests will come to the rooms and expect it to be a refrigerator. It's not really, it's more of a drinks cooler. It doesn't actually get as cold like as they would want to. It's not for like storing meat or anything like that. So yeah. But yeah, runner would just mean that I just have to sit by my radio and just answer to calls, and it could either be from housekeepers wanting things like blankets, or they might be wanting a clean comforter, or it could be guests ringing to say that they want more towels, or they want extra shampoo, or they need something that's not a general amenity that every housekeeper gives out, but you'd have to ring and ask for it. So yeah, that was my tasks, and that was all the questions. So I hope to the lovely person that asked me for this video, this helps, and I answered everything that you wanted to. So thank you very much for requesting, and if you have any more questions, just comment below. Thank you, bye!